Welcome to Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Being a fireman, father, veteran, husband, world record holder, and Ironman, he brings stories of experience to impact your life while challenging you to live it. What do you want from your life? Why do you want it? Are you willing to go through the challenges to get there? If you have the courage to take that first step, let this podcast be the catalyst to start your fire, while you bring the resilience to make it continue to burn. Our lives are made up of moments called right nows. So let's get started. Forged in the Fires podcast with your host, Fireman Rob, begins now.
All right, welcome back to Forged in the Fires podcast. I'm your host, Fireman Rob. Today's guest, the amount of things that she has done in her life is staggering. And a lot of the things that she has done, she has created a path for, and I love it. She's a veteran of the United States Air Force, which is amazing because we both chose the right field to go into. Krystalore Crews, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Looking at all of the things that you've done, and from transitioning from the United States Air Force into the civilian population and all of the great aspects that you've done. You were even an NFL cheerleader. I love that. That's like the random aspect. I want to dive into that first. How did you choose to be an NFL cheerleader? But yet the other cool thing is you are a professional belly dancer.
Yes. Okay, so
the most random sides of it.
Not really. They do connect because either way, I'm a performer. Right. Yes. And so it is a huge part of my story. I've been a dancer since I could walk, since awesome. I was 2. My mom put me in dance. And so I was a dancer, a cheerleader in high school, in college. I was a runner, a sprinter, a hurdler, an athlete, and I was also a gymnast. And so when I was in my undergrad, I was cheering for college, and one of my friends actually tried out for the NFL. And she's like, I think you should try it. You should try out. And my aunt actually was an NFL cheerleader back in the 90s.
Wow.
And
That's
yes.
awesome.
So I was like, oh, this is great. I can carry on, the legacy. Yeah. And so I ended up trying out, and it was a very rigorous, competition. There were 500 women that tried out, and they picked 38 of us.
Wow.
And so it was a challenge, but like anything, if someone puts a challenge in front of me, I'm like, all right, let's see what we can do. Why not?
I love it. And you talked about, your background in dance. I mean, it is something that you have to really commit to, and that kind of speaks to your personality, right? That commitment and that constant growth in everything that you do. I mean, that's really, in that dance world, that is key, isn't it?
Yes. And it's more than what happens when you're performing. It's really everything else that prepares you. And, you can attribute that to life in business, or I'm also a marathon runner too. So all of the miles are done in the space that you don't have the spotlight on you. It's what happens in everything in between. It's waking up early. It's the discipline of eating healthy. It's getting the proper sleep and the nutrition. It's moving your body, talking to yourself properly. And it's really the discipline of just getting up and doing the hard work to build the skill and build the momentum that is necessary so that you can show up powerfully come game day.
I love that statement of it's all the things behind the game, all the things behind when you get on the stage or on the field, anything like that makes the person that you are. How did you transition when you went into the military, and you were in the Air National Guard? How did the military aspect of your life, how did that, was that an easy way to go into, from all of the discipline of the dance and everything, understanding that it's a lot of pre-work to get the finality that you want? Was that a good transition to go into the military?
Yeah, so I think the discipline of it really just helped provide the structure. And it also gave some purpose and direction. Serving something bigger than yourself, having core values, and whether it be faith in God or your core values or the universe or whatever, just having something that's bigger than you is key. I think it's really crucial in making sure that we do continue the discipline of, well, whatever it is. I help a lot of people with their health and fitness. So really understanding their deep why of why it is that they're doing what they're doing. So I think that's the biggest thing, is really having that mission, having that purpose, having that direction, because life is going to get tough. We're going to have obstacles, and we all have to be working towards one common goal. And I think the military really did provide that. It gave really purpose and direction and a mission that's bigger than myself to keep going. And, obviously the discipline of staying fit to fight at all times, it's part of our job to be healthy and fit and, be able to, pick up and carry your gear and have to leave at any given point. So we're constantly in a readiness state. And I truly believe that, if we train for life, we're constantly in a readiness state.
You have all these like nuggets that I keep writing down. It's amazing. I'm going to run out of paper before we get done with this. I love when you talked about the deep why. And I want you to elaborate on that more, because it's so powerful for people to understand their deep why, but also that it transitions through their life into different meanings. Can you dive deeper into that statement of you have to find that deep why in you?
Yeah. So, and first, before we say that, I think it can be really overwhelming for a lot of people to be like, oh, I need to have this big passion and this purpose, and it has to be so clear. We don't have to have it all figured out, everyone. Like, if you're listening, I'll tell you, I
like the disclaimer. I like the disclaimer.
We don't have to have it all figured out. We just have to be willing to try something and have some sort of direction each and every day. And so that can mean someone that you're doing it for, or someone that you don't want to be like, like that. I think we, especially in the military, we learn from the really good leaders, and we also learn from the not so good leaders, right? So
true.
Yeah. So I think
you should take a deep breath there. I like that.
Yes.
Recollecting.
There's a lot to unpack there, but I think it's important to know what your why is, because a lot of times we'll do stuff, we'll accomplish something, we'll go after something for someone else well before we'll do it for ourselves. Right. And so I think it's important to be like, all right, so why are we doing this? And make sure that we're attaching it to something else other than someone else, really. Right. Because we have to want it so bad for ourselves. So for me, what I didn't share as part of my NFL career, I ended up in a wheelchair for 6 months, diagnosed with a really rare form of rheumatoid arthritis. My life, my military career, my running career, my dancing, my NFL, everything was stripped of me because I wasn't taking my health and fitness seriously.
Right.
My why is like, it's because my life depends on it.
Oh, I like that. And that can go with you everywhere that you have. That's such a great, it's one of those things like you were saying before, and I loved how you said it, is like we all look for that one deep meaning of why, but you just said it so eloquently in saying that, it's really that purpose of continuing forward. And I want to go back to 2017 with you when you left the military and you leaned on a coach who specialized in helping veterans find that way. Talk to me more about that year and that, that really finding out an understanding of who you are and how powerful you were to be able to help others in coaching.
Yeah. So just another disclosure, I'm actually still serving. So I'm in the Air National Guard, but I was full-time for almost 10 years. And then I met my husband, who was also in the military, and he was active duty. He moved to Buffalo, and that's where I was from. And my whole career was where I served, where you serve where you live in the Air National Guard, right? So,
Yep.
So he got orders and we had to move away. And I resigned my full-time position in the military.
Okay.
And then I applied for a part-time position and moved away with him so he could continue his full-time career.
I gotcha. So it was a different kind of change within the military.
Correct. But that transition was real because I had been high ranking in the military. I have a master's degree. I had all this education, all this experience. I was on LinkedIn. I was, dabbling in Facebook, but I thought I would just quickly find a job. But what I soon recognized was my identity had shifted. I was no longer a professional in the military. I was, but that didn't define me and my credentials anymore. I was just a military spouse. I was the cute girl that, moved with her husband, and, people would meet us at networking events and they would be like, oh, it must be so hard to move with your husband. And, and honey, what do you do? And he's like, she outranks me. She's way,
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So it was a challenge. And then they're like, well, a lot of people wouldn't hire me because they're like, you moved here with close to no notice. You're just going to leave us again. And we need someone that's more, long-term. And so I went with 6 months without a job. I was broke. I had no job. I was traveling back and forth to Buffalo every 3 to 4 weeks to be able to serve my military duty and part-time.
Oh.
And it was then when I went on LinkedIn, and this military transition life coach, she specialized in military transition. She put a post on LinkedIn saying, I'm taking 5 applications for scholarships for coaching for the next 5 military transitioning veterans. And I literally poured my life out to her. I was just bawling my eyes out, writing the application. And she selected me and spent a lot of time with me, really helped me uncover what it truly was that I wanted to do to help serve and continue that service after, after the uniform. Right. And she helped me create a platform for myself to be able to help others through turning my mess into a message. And so I utilized that space as an NFL cheerleader in those tough times in a wheelchair, and really dissected what it was that I did to help heal myself inside and out. And fast forward a year after that wheelchair, I worked with my doctors. I got off of all the medication. I've run 26 marathons in a 50-mile race, and I don't take ibuprofen to this day. So,
oh my God, you jumped into exactly where I was going to go. I was like, I love that. But how did that transition? How did you go from that mentality of, I'm in this wheelchair, I'm trying to figure out life, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Okay, I want to do this, but then to go and, anybody who's done a marathon in their lifetime, or even just a 10K, it's a commitment. It's a mental commitment to do things. Mm-hmm. But 26, how did you get to that point of going, this is where I'm going to find my therapy?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it was in the beginning. I started walking when I could barely, I started crawling, in fact. And that's why I help a lot of women mostly. I help men too, but mostly women really just start when they've, maybe are overcoming an illness or an injury, really helping them understand that they can move their body. But I just started moving when I could. I started taking my health seriously, advocating for myself, saying no to the doctors, when they wanted to put me on more medication. Right. It was actually, they tried to kick me out of the military. So that was the first thing. I was like, no, there's got to be another way. There's got to be other medication that isn't going to disqualify me to continue to serve. And so that really opened up the gates to be able to say, okay, there's other ways to heal our bodies. And so running was that for me, which just started with one step at a time, then one light post, then 1 mile, then, 5K, then my first half marathon in Disney, then my first full marathon. Awesome. And I just realized that I can continue to grow and learn about my body and give it the fuel that it needs. And it turned into like a scientific experiment in a sense. And I hate to be weird like that, but it really was. I'm like, okay, now what can I do to improve? And so I've been so intuitive. I know we had this conversation before we went live. I'm very in tune with energy and the body and the brain and how we function. I study it very, very closely, not only with myself, but I train others to do the same for themselves so they can help and impact others. So it's a really cool journey of self-exploration, mental and physical health and endurance and discipline. And it takes a lot to go into it. So it's always a combination. I always say it's a combination of things that makes it work and makes us all tick. But it's pretty cool to kind of explore it and unpeel the onion.
I absolutely love that. And you distilled that into this cool, your first published book in 2022, your crystal clear, and there's no pun intended there, life planner. I love it. A woman's 90-day action plan to embrace chaos and live a fulfilling life. How fulfilling was that to really put that into on paper, to have other women gravitate towards that and build themselves? What did that feel like for you?
Oh my gosh, I feel it every day because I help so many women. That book is really just the system to help empower everyone put themselves and their health first for 34 minutes a day. So it's a really simple system for 2 minutes of goal setting, gratitude, and intention setting every morning. It allows you to map out 30 minutes of movement and then 2 minutes of reflection and celebration and intentions to set up the next day. So this calibration and reflection tool is really what it is, to be able to give some structure to a woman that is just busy, overwhelmed, overworked, probably underpaid, underappreciated, undervalued, and is just depleted and needs something to keep her mind and body in check. So it's really cool because I help so many women just with this system. It's more than just a journal. It's a lifestyle.
Wow, I love that. Make sure you go to KrystalloreCrews.com. One of the articles that you wrote that I loved, that was talking about being intentional with your life. And I think, transitioning from that book to that statement, it's so powerful when one of the things that you're talking about in there is what's luck got to do with it. Tell me more about that aspect of it, because I think a lot of people, sometimes get down on themselves and feeling like, this just wasn't meant for me.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people say, "Oh, you must be nice. You're so lucky. You've been able to accomplish this. Like you get to travel all over." And it's like, yes, it is nice because I designed it that way. It's by no surprise that I'm even right here on stage with you, during this podcast, because I designed it that way. I went after it. I designed the life that I desire, and I say, okay, who do I need to get in touch with? What actions do I need to take? What discipline do I have to implement into my life? The sleep. I literally just woke up from a nap. I have a show on Mondays, every Monday, called Health is Wealth. I go live. So I not only teach fitness, so I taught a whole fitness class this morning. And had a great breakfast and then did some relaxation and meditation. And then I taught my show, or I spoke during my show. And I was like, I need a nap before the next show. And so I really recognize what I need to pour into that next thing. And so without any blame or shame, it really is understanding what it is going to take for you to reach that next level, so that you can go all in and pour into and have the energy and the discipline and the sustainability to be able to endure, an hour talk. Or for me, I do 40-hour consulting classes and curriculum. Oof. Sometimes I do 2 weeks back to back of 8 to 10 hour sessions. That doesn't even include setup and tear down. So to be able to sustain that much, of course, marathon running helped with that. But,
you get somebody
it takes
serving you throughout the marathon. That's they're giving you food, they're giving you water. I'm guessing during those 40 minutes, you're not getting anything like that.
No, definitely hydration is key for sure.
I like how in that statement you said without blame or shame, because I think so many people, whether it's an excuse or whether it's something that they're imploding on themselves in essence, they don't succeed because of that. Where do you see that blame and shame? How do you transition through that? How do you get past help those individuals get past that part of it?
Yeah. So the blame and the shame and the guilt and the overwhelm comes from not doing enough to get as far as they want to go in the time frame that they want it in.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so that typically is when the blame, the shame, the guilt, and the comparison comes into play. Is like, I'm not quite there yet, or I don't have enough followers, or I'm not far along as I should be. And I share this from experience because here I am speaking into the blue snowball microphone that I bought 6 years ago to be able to host my own podcast. And I thought, yes, I bought all the fancy equipment. I was like, I need to be successful. I have to have a podcast. I have to have all these things, and I have to do it right now. And I soon did nothing because I was trying to do so much all at once that I literally had what I call spaghetti brain. Is a lot of goals and a lot of excitement, and then you just try to like throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And it turns out that it's just a messy gobbledygook, and it really comes out in your energy, in your thoughts, your feelings, and how you show up in the world. And so I see it just like that all the time with my clients.
Yeah. And
so
I was going to say the cool part about all that, what you just said, is that it's so powerful when you can hear a coach who coaches people articulate that, I've done this too. There's so many, it's hard because you see a lot of coaches that will tell you, we talked about this before we got on, it's like, live the message that you're speaking. And I think it's so powerful what you're doing there. And I actually wanted to transition because I wanted to talk about your Cruise Beyond Limits. I want to go on one of these.
The retreat?
Yeah, the Women's Empowerment Wellness Retreat. How cool is that to put together that? And how many people go at a time?
Oh my gosh. It is the ultimate. So if you were to ask me, Crystal, I have many different ways that I coach people. I coach teams, I coach women, I coach men, companies, teams. If you were to tell me, Crystal, or ask me, what is the one thing that brings you the most joy and the most fulfillment, is this experience. I take 6 women right now. It's 6. It's a very intimate experience.
That's awesome. Yeah.
6 women for 6 days in magical Costa Rica. So I have a 6-day it's a guided curriculum to be able to help these women go on this self journey of, goal setting. They're finding their purpose. They're finding their direction, exploring the healthy habits. We work out, we sweat together, we laugh, we cry, we joke, there's adventures. And I get to see the transformation of these 6 women and how they come together as a team, as a community, as a sisterhood in the 6 days. There are no words to describe it. And just. And my husband and I, side note, I know you want to come, but right now it's just for women. But my husband and I are planning for 2024. Stay tuned for a couples retreat. So
that's so good.
We do a lot of work with couples. So stay tuned for that.
I love that. And one of the quotes that you have is small movements lead to huge results. And like you were saying before, you're like, I got a podcast, but it's like you've created this retreat that is, I'm only guessing that how many people it has impacted. What does it mean to your life? You've done a lot of things in your life. dived into so many different aspects and been successful and impacted people. If you had to look at yourself right now, what would be the biggest impact that you feel so proud of and continues to drive you?
I just put myself in the top of the mountain in Costa Rica at the finish line of each experience, each 6-day experience. And there's an infinity pool that it's at the top of this mountain that overlooks the ocean. And there's beautiful mountains and the most incredible sunset that you can possibly imagine. And there are no words or pictures or video that will possibly capture these moments. And I'll tell you the one thing, as you explain that and ask that question, I put myself there in the center seat of that infinity pool, just really being able to put together my purpose, my passion, my gifts, my love for coaching and fitness and mindset and community and connection and business development, and literally creating a life that I don't have to vacation from. And that's the true freedom. I think that's what every American every human on the planet probably is looking for, and I've been able to find it.
That was an awesome answer. I love that. Well, make sure you go to KrystaloreCrews.com. You can find out more. She has her book there. You can find out how to book her to come and speak, as well as if you are a woman looking to be empowered and have this amazing journey with Krystalore, make sure you go there because you're not going to want to miss out on this. I appreciate you coming on the show today. I always end with 3 same questions. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. If you could go back to your 18-year-old self and give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
Don't listen to other people's opinions.
Ooh, that's a good one. That is so true. All right. So the second one is, everybody's going through challenges and struggles in their lives. And if you could have them incorporate 2 habits into their daily life to continue to move forward, what would those 2 habits be?
Go to bed at the same time every night. Have a goal for yourself to go to bed at the same time every night. Work on your evening routine instead of the morning routine. If you get your evening routine in check, the morning routine will be way more easier.
Yeah.
And then, so that's number 1. And then number 2, move your body every single day for 30 minutes, no matter what.
You saying you can't have excuses or blame?
No excuses. Excuses don't burn calories.
That's true. All right. This last one's going to be fun. If you could have coffee at a firehouse table, in other words, nothing is off the table to ask and answer, with 3 people, they could be deceased or alive, who would those 3 people be and why?
Ooh, 3 people. Okay. Oprah, definitely. Awesome. I would definitely love to have coffee with her. Another one of my mentors is Brendan Burchard, freaking incredible human. I would love to have coffee with him and dissect his brain. And another one of my mentors that he doesn't know it yet, but it's Trent Shelton. I will share a stage with him someday. And so if anybody has any connections, let me know. I would love to. He has changed my life and helped me through some of the darkest moments of my life. So I would love to sit and chat with him.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I appreciate all the words of wisdom today. And definitely, I know my guests are sitting there the same as I was doing, writing down what I needed to know about how to continue to move forward and have a great and fulfilling life. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast, and please share this episode with a friend or family. To find out more about Fireman Rob or reach out about a question, go to www.firemanrob.com. Until next time, live your life forged in the fires.